Well, good morning. Longhaultanker, straight razor shaving with Longhaultanker, and it is Wednesday morning, the 26th of October, 2022, and it's approximately 10:15 a.m. Central Time, and I've got about 36 hours worth of growth of whiskers on my face. And you'll recall the last video I was in the driver's restroom on our home terminal and said I would be doing another shave likely this morning. So here I am, but we're doing something a little bit different. For me, I have always wanted to do a shave on my patio, and I've seen others, particularly Anthony Esposito, do outside patio shaves, and it just struck me as being unique, fun, and so that's what I'm doing this morning. I don't have all the ideal equipment for doing an outside shave. I wish I had a better mirror. I wish I had a better basin and pitcher. I'd love to have an antique porcelain set of a pitcher and basin, along with a traditional antique setup. I don't know if you've ever seen those on eBay, but they are there and they are available, and they have a spot where the bowl goes in. They have a mirror on the back of it, and it's kind of a nice deal, but everything always becomes about space. Where am I going to put it? Is it practical? And so what I've done is I have taken my wife's dressing mirror out of the master bedroom, which was sitting on the floor. It's I'd say it's about 24 to 26 inches wide and about 3.5, 4 feet tall. It's very lightweight, and so I just carried it out here, set it up on the patio. We have quite an extensive outdoor kitchen on our patio, and I've got it sitting on the one-eyed gas grill. I say the one eye, you know, where you can set a pot for boiling water, warming up something. And so right immediately to my right hand side is a Pit Boss smoker that sits about approximately 4 to 4.5 feet high. And off to my left, all the way back to the corner over here is there's a refrigerator and a storage cabinet and a large gas grill with a sink and a garbage can, all kinds of stuff over there on that. For my substitute of a pitcher this morning, I used a boiling pan. For a substitute of a bowl, I've got a large mixing bowl. I've got everything covered in towels out here because we keep our pets out here on the patio. We got 2 cats and 3 dogs, small dogs, Chihuahuas. What is that other one? Small terrier, very obedient, very smart, Jack Russell. And so I'm sitting on top of the Pit Boss smoker. I've got my accoutrements for the this morning, and towels. I've got several different towels for different things going on here, but I'm letting my water cool just a little bit because I brought it to just a near boil, and I don't want to burn myself at 212 degrees or whatever it is. But let's go ahead and start the lathering up. Let's introduce the equipment. But before I do so, if you're watching me on YouTube this morning, thank you for coming along. I made mention in the last video, as I was walking up to the driver's lounge restroom, that I got my 199th subscriber. I noticed last night when I checked on some things on the YouTube that I got 200, and so thank you so much for subscribing to my channel, sticking with me, watching what you want to watch at whatever speed you want to watch it at, because I know I take a long time, but I enjoy this so much, and I hope that comes through at least most of the time. I'm well rested. I feel energetic this morning. I'm not tired. I'm not grumpy. I've had, my wife gave me a wonderful day yesterday. We sat out here on the patio and watched. I got home about 10:30, 11 o'clock. And we watched TV, and we made, outside on our concrete deck out here, we've got the large Komodo Joe. That's a big, huge ceramic thing. And then we've got a charcoal grill. It's a large one. I don't remember the name of it just right off the top of my head, but it's the traditional name of the really good large grills. It'll come to me in a little bit, but that's the way of life here lately. Yeah. 5 hours later, it will come to me. So I've got beautiful scenery here as I look out the screened-in porch. I've got pine trees and I've got oak trees, and the back of our property goes onto a piece of property that goes down to the stream, Spring Creek, and it is in a floodplain that has never flooded in over 150 years. That was one of the first things I checked on when we were looking at this. I went to my insurance agent and said, "Can you check on floodplains?" He said, "Yes." And I said, "Look up this property." And he said, "Yeah, you're on a 100-year floodplain." And there's quite an incline going down to the creek. So there'd have to be an awful lot of flooding, even given Houston standards with hurricanes and such. There'd have to be just a huge amount of flooding for that to even come up near the property. But it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. We have a lovely home, and I'm very thankful for it. So let's get started on the equipment. We are using a very prime example of American steel. We're using a Robeson Shuredge, and it's a little bit more than 5/8, but not quite 6/8. It's got kind of a mahogany reddish plastic acrylic scales on it. They're in fine shape. I presume they're original. There's a white plastic wedge down in on the pin, and it looks kind of grayish from years of use. I've had this now for about 5-6 years, and it's got what looks like some dimpled or hammered tang on it, and it's just lovely. All right, so that's the razor we're going to use today. The brush, we're using the Artist Shaving 24 millimeter premium Silvertip Badger set in nickel. This was a gift from my wife from Las Vegas when she went out there about 3-4 years ago on a business trip. And I didn't bring the lid. All right, let's do it this way. I got it soaking in some hot water. Cat hair stuck on the bottom, but we're using Intrepid Man Stirling Soap Company, and it's soaking. I'm going to dump that water. I should have put that on my hands. That's all right. We'll get a little bit going here. And I'm going to put my rag. My basin is still smoldering, and it's hot quite hot. Ooh, even uncomfortably hot. Ooh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. I had a nice hot shower this morning. It's cooling down. It's still quite warm and serves the purpose of what I'm doing here. All right, there's that. I got a dry brush. I'm not going to soak it. I'm just going to wet the tips. Well, I wet it all the way down to the base of the bristles where it goes into the handle, and do a little light squeeze, do a little shake, and here we go. So thank you for watching me on YouTube this morning. Thank you for the 200 subscribers, and go on over to the Shaving Cadre. You know, there's a few of us that make videos and promote the Shaving Cadre. We think it's just a wonderful wet shaving forum. It's got a good attitude. Everybody is so congenial. If you haven't seen the 45-second, I say it's 45 seconds, a very short video from Jared Connerty of the Superior Shave. Go take a look at it and see what he's got to say. I don't know if he's a member or not. He's the big promoter of the convex honing. And go see what he's got to say about the Shaving Cadre. All right, there's my brush, set it aside. Here's my bowl. Oh, it looks like this is going to be a good lather, real good lather. Yeah, so all my friends at the Shaving Cadre that I talk about, the Handle Barber Dave and Major Rich and Nurse Dave and Bill M and the Cutthroat Journey and Shooting the Shave and Lukey 3262. And so go visit their channels. You'll enjoy them. Go visit them on they're all quite open and approachable. And so go on and visit with them and become acquainted with, that's just so hot still. Trying to rinse off my bowl a little bit. Set this over here out of the way. It's not as clean as I would like because it's so hot. Now I got something, I think as I was approaching 200, it happened after I got the 199 subscriber. YouTube sent me a thing that said, you now have more features available. I didn't even know there were more features available. And I can conduct surveys and polls, and I can do something like shorts, which that don't, at this present moment, those things don't interest me. I'm just doing shaving videos. But who knows, maybe I'll have a occasion or desire or interest at some future date to do something. Who knows? If you got suggestions, I'd be happy to read what you've got to say. If you want to leave a comment on YouTube, please do so. Be respectful, courteous, polite, and I will be the same. Or not. We may see more of these on the patio. You might see above, you can see on the video above me on the ceiling, the real nice finished. We had a choice when we were building this house. We had a choice of standard hardy plank finish on the ceiling, or we could pay the extra money and get the nice stained wood to go up there, and that's what we did. We also got the bay window on the master bedroom, and then afterward we expanded by enclosing the patio with screen. It's got nice cedar planking, stained. And then a year after that, we expanded the concrete patio out about 10 feet or so. And so we have the inside patio and we have the outside patio. My wife will say, it's on the patio. And I'll say, which one? something I thought about saying and still debating in my mind, but I'm just going to say it for the fun of it. This is about as close as I'm going to come to a stunt shave. I will never shave with honey and oatmeal. I will never shave with ketchup and mustard. But shaving on the patio, yeah, it's a little different. And it's fun, but it's a real shave. That's all I'm going to say on that. I don't want to offend anybody, I guess. All right, we're about ready to get it started here. All right, we're using the Robeson Shuredge. And if I remember what Finster said, this was owned or it was acquired, Robeson Shuredge was acquired by the Case Company at some point. And these first few strokes are just fine. If I'm not mistaken by the feel of it, it's a natural edge, and it feels more like an Arkansas than it does a conical. Oh yeah, oh yeah. That feels great. No, had a wonderful time yesterday. We watched movies out here on the patio, and on the Kamado Joe, my wife ordered the big one, so it's about 30 some inches across, and with all of the accoutrements and accessories, which included the ceramic pizza plate and insert, and she made up a bunch of homemade pizzas, which they were just, and she's going to do some more today. She says she made 4 yesterday, and she's going to make 4 today. I can hear the popping of the guns in the distance from a nearby firing range. We have a Carter's Country in Spring, Texas, and it's, I don't know, 4 or 5 miles over that way, and we can always hear the popping going on. And that's fine. That's more than fine. That's, you know, comforting. People still care about the Second Amendment. Well, it is Texas, isn't it? It's a lovely morning out here, just absolutely lovely. Sun is shining, the breeze is calm, the temperature is, I dare say, in the mid-60s and rising. It was a high of, I say high, as we were sitting out here on the patio yesterday, it was about 74. I don't think it ever got warmer than 75 degrees yesterday. Yeah, this is going to be, when we retire, this is going to be my resting place. This is our retirement home. This is our, I say that with some tongue in cheek. My wife and I both, before we met and married each other, had pretty rough experiences with former mates and getting started late in life on actually building a life. And, but that happens, and sometimes you wonder how you're going to get caught up and on the things that they say you're supposed to, 401ks and buying a home, and sometimes those kinds of things don't come easy. Even when you think you've chosen a career path in life, and you find yourself on the outside looking in. How did I get here? But my wife and I have been married for just over 14 years, and while we've had our ups and downs, mostly up. And so in time, you may not get everything, that you've missed out on, or what you think you've missed out on. But so you live for the day. You live for the immediate future, not the 30-year future, 40-year future. And so you start accumulating and building what you can when you're 55 years old, which is not an easy task, and you just have to be satisfied with. And sometimes the good news is that my wife and I are both reasonably well employed. A truck driver, a transportation recruiter, my wife is, with a master's degree. I've got the master's in theology. I say theology, that's a broad term. It's more specific than that, but that's what most people understand. When you talk to most people about religious and Christian things, they glaze over and have no idea what you're talking about, and so you try to speak in as generic a terms as possible, so that at least, oh yeah, okay, okay. You know, you want to talk about apologetics and homiletics, we can do that. Most people have no idea what I'm talking about. And even saying that you've been a pastor, that's a generic term that I use because it's what most people understand. Oh, okay. But I'm not going to go into all that any more than I just have. That's generic enough. If you'd like to carry on further, please send a post. So I got back to the yard yesterday, or I say, you know, night before last, went into the, because I made mention about that respirator mask fit test that we got to do, and I left my respirator in my safety manager's office, and I had to go in and retrieve it after getting back, which I had my shave the other night, which you saw, and then I laid over in the truck, slept in the truck that night, got up the next morning, went over to the dispatch office where the safety manager has his office, my friend that I've known for 10 years, and went and chatted with him for a quick minute, went out and spoke to the assistant terminal manager, who's a good friend. He had his hand in that stuff that went on regarding Cincinnati, and we talked about it and got squared away. And you always, when you've known these people for as long as I have known them, 10 years, and you know, whether I'm talking about the safety manager, whether I'm talking about the assistant terminal manager, or even the terminal manager, I've known them all for the full length of their employment. They've not always been in those positions, but I've known them. I just wanted to make sure that I was squared away with this assistant terminal manager. We'll call him John, and which may or may not be his name. Now, if you're watching, you'll know, or anyway. And he said, yeah, we're fine. I knew as soon as you said it was fouled up, I never thought that it wasn't. You know, I trust your word so much that if you say it's fouled up, it's fouled up. And the things that came after, they'll be handled. Oh, okay, thanks. Very nice. Very nice. Lovely day. Just going to be another lazy day. Get some rest. I laid there in the chair watching the movies with my wife yesterday here on the patio. And I was enjoying some adult beverage. I don't know adult beverages that well. I know what I like in terms of flavor, but I don't know brands and labels, and I've come to adult beverages late in life. And so I went into the store to pick up my wife what she wanted, and I said to the guy, now I've tried, what I'm trying to get a flavor or taste for is Scotch and bourbon. And and I'm trying, and so I had a bottle, quart-sized bottle, I guess, of Maker's Mark, and just sipped it away over like a year, 6 months, a year, I don't know. And so I went in and I said, what's a really good label? What's a really good bottle, in your opinion? And I know I could ask the folks at the Shaving Cadre, but you know, I have to deal with what's in stock, and I also have to deal with pricing. What's a really good bourbon? And so he gave me several options and price ranges, and I said, well, this is about what I want to spend. And he said Maker's Mark 45, French, is it French? Oak staves. I don't even know what all that means, but I will say that when I started sipping on it, I could tell a distinct difference between it and the regular Maker's Mark, favorably so, to my taste buds. And I have gotten past the point where, maybe it's because I'm not doing Wild Turkey or Jack Daniels, I don't know, but I've gotten past the point where any sip of that kind of alcohol just sets my mouth on fire. So I'm past that, if y'all know what I'm talking about. And that's what, and I just didn't, that's one reason, because way back when, you know, in the pastoral days, you know, no drinking, but still you'd sneak a drink here and there along the way. What am I doing? My ex-mother-in-law, now deceased, may she burn in, never mind, had a bottle of Wild Turkey up in the cabinet, and when I was in seminary, which was close to their house, and we'd go over for, you know, Thanksgiving or something. This goes back to early and mid 80s, 1980s. I would always sneak a sip of Wild Turkey. Never liked it. I said, how do people stand this? And so my truck driving buddy, I say former, a Marine. You don't say former when talking about a Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine. Okay, I appreciate the sentiment. And so we're talking about Scotch and bourbon, and he says, get a bottle of Johnny Walker Red Label or Black Label. You know, one's more expensive, one's 12-year, and the other one's common, whatever it is. And yeah, I'm not one for, you know, picking up on, it's kind of like shaving soaps and the scents, you know, the taste. Can you know, the initial taste, the aftertaste, all these different things about the taste of bourbons and scotches. And so, but I could tell the difference between Red Label and Black Label, Johnny Walker on Scotch. I got to say that I think I am more of a bourbon person than I am a Scotch person. I do like the Red Label better than I do the Black Label. And I realize the Black Label is supposed to be, quote unquote, better because it's 12-year-old Scotch. And I get what that means. It just soaked longer in the barrels. At least I think that's what that means. Okay. The water in the basin has cooled down a little bit. Still just warm. It's still just warm. I may have to go boil another pot, but I'm not going to. We'll just carry on here. I'm not too far from being done, and the head shave, it don't hardly matter if it's warm, hot, cold. So I'm using this, I haven't commented, Intrepid Man from Stirling Soap Company, and it smells great. It smells great. I am not disappointed. I can't tell you about scent notes, like I said. if you're looking for a sweet smelling masculine scent, yeah. Just fine. Again, I'm not, if you're looking to pair it to something like an aftershave or cologne, you can look at their website and see what it's supposed to be a knockoff of, and suit yourself accordingly. But just for a shave soap, and that's really all I look at all of these as, is just shave soaps. I'm not big on buying scents. I've got a handful of Panade, you know, and you can get those bottles of Panade for less than $10, generally speaking, or right at $10, $10, $12, and I'm not going to spend more. And when I bought these, like today, when we get done with this, I'm gonna put on some Lilac Vegetal Panade. I'm this way. If I see something I like, or I know that I like, I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to buy a half a dozen of them. And so my closet is full of Clubman, the barbershop scent. I've got several of the Whiskey scent. And although it's not Panade, I've got several of the Florida water. I've got several of Aqua Velva Blue Ice. I like that scent, so I bought a bunch of them. And you know, you always worry, I do anyway, that it's not uncommon for some of these makers to suspend or terminate making the product you like. So you get several. As soon as I heard that Tobacco was doing something with their formula, I went out and bought, like 8 of those. Original formula. Yeah, the blade is acting very characteristic of an Arkansas edge. Very, 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 very nice. very quiet neighborhood. Off in the distance, got the popping of the gun range. And we're just a little bit north of the Houston International Bush Intercontinental Airport, and sometimes you can hear the planes. It's not real loud. I remember one time living in San Leandro, California, doing ministry work, working for a church on Grant Avenue, I'll just say that, in San Lorenzo. And the place that we lived, and I didn't know this until after we moved in and started walking around the neighborhoods, and right on, within a mile, 2 miles, it's a very short distance, we'd walk over there, the Oakland airport, and it would just, at 6 a.m., 5:30 a.m., it would just start rattling the house. All right, where am I at? Ready for the against the grain, south to north. That's where I'm at. I like to keep a neat and tidy handle on a brush. And so when I've got soap that's starting to squeeze out down below the bristle line, I'll just take the spine edge of and just scoop it up and put it back up on top of on the brush. Also, when I've shaved off my lather, I put it back on the brush. It's always seemed to me to be a waste of lather to just rinse it off. And so, I mean, you got some good lather still good. Jessica's got some whiskers in it. And I've been doing that since the beginning, 7 years plus. Hasn't affected the quality of the shave, insofar as I know, and that's, oops, leaned a little too heavy on the grill here. Oh, that's just, that is marvelous. And so we got not only all the cooking equipment on the patio that I mentioned, we got a couple of, there's 2 side benches over here, and the cats, and the sun comes right in, and the cats just love to lay up there. 2 sister cats, twins, born at the same time, same litter. One's black, one's white. Guess what their names are? Ebony and Ivory, that's it. So, after my divorce in 2021, is that right? Yeah, close enough. I'd always been a dog person, Cocker Spaniels primarily. Over the previous 20 plus years, I think we went through 2, Cocker Spaniels, and didn't want dogs after the divorce. I wanted a cat. I wanted a cat, and I found one and got it. And I became a dedicated cat person ever since. Dogs are not my thing. They're too troublesome. They don't know. I know some may disagree with me, but they don't take to the litter box as naturally as a cat does. Cats have always been indoor cats. I clip their cat's claws just using an ordinary nail clipper, the large one, the toenail clipper, by hand. I've done that for 15 years. And early, they, squawked and snapped, and I just beat the snot out of them. Don't you ever, I exaggerate, but I gave them a good thumping. Yeah, this soap is a nice, rich, thick, creamy. Even as we come down to the end of the shave, it's still maintaining its property's pretty good. Now the dogs, they like that concrete patio outside. They go through, in and out through the doggy door on the screen. The cats, we moved the cats out here about, I don't know, 4 months ago, and they took right to the patio, indoor patio. Doggy door's right there. They go out if they want, but we rather suspected, since they've been homebound cats for 15 years, 14 years. Indoor bound, that is, that they'd be less likely to want to go outside. And sure enough, that's the way it's played out. They still have their claws. I didn't declaw. In fact, when we got them, we were kind of encouraged to sign a document that we wouldn't declaw them, but I'm not morally opposed to declawing a cat on an indoor. Last thing you want to do is to buy a $15,000 furniture set and have it clawed to pieces by a dumb animal. Now, excuse me, animals are pets. You pet them, you love them, you feed them, you eat them. I say with some tongue in cheek, but I remember Mel Gibson's line, "Dog makes a fine meal." And lots of people around the earth seem to agree. Different cultures and so forth. I don't know that I would do that, but I'm not Doris Day, am I? One of our Chihuahuas last spring, a year ago, out here in the backyard, we got a little plaque over there, bit by a copperhead. And we didn't run to the veterinarian to do the anti-venom thing. I think those things cost like $5,000. We didn't check on it. We didn't call about it. tried to make her as comfortable as possible. And we thought she was going to survive there toward the evening of the first day. We thought she was going to survive. She was eating, drinking, surviving, walking. By mid-morning, the next morning, she was showing signs of the end. Of course, I'm on the road, you know, and my wife tended to it, but she was of the same mind and attitude. No, we're not going to spend $5,000 on an anti-venom treatment. You know, my dogs get sick, or any of my pets get sick with a or start showing signs of impending death. I've got the 0.22 solution. And then you go buy another one and start all over. All right, let's rinse this thing off and see what we got. 103. Well, I'm not surprised. Now, my view of pets and animals is utilitarian. They serve me, I don't serve them. That don't mean I don't make life comfortable for them. I want them to be happy. I want them to come to me when I call them. I want them to lick my hand and lick my face as occasion permits. I want my cats to come to me and lay down and stretch out in my lap. Oh, yeah. All right, let's see here. Do this. Got alum on my fingers. Pull this back. Now, if you get the alum in your eyes, it will burn. I've had it drip off my head after the head shave, and spread alum around up on top, and it come running down into the eyes, and it'll burn. Oop, wrong hand. I always get a little confused. All right, so razor goes in the left hand, alum on the right hand. There we go. All right, I think that's going to do for the face shave. Let's go ahead and get on to the head shave. And for those of you that are staying with me, say thank you. If you're leaving me at the head shave, that's okay too. Yeah. The water is just a little bit better than tepid. Yeah, that's just all I'll say. Better than tepid. It's slightly warm. It's not noticeably warm, but it's not cold either. I tell you what, I'm going to adjust the camera a little bit and see if I can, I don't know, higher. Yeah, let's try that. Now, the other night up in the driver's lounge, I did use the clippers and buzz my head, and so I don't have quite a distinctive line where I normally do, but I'm going to fake it, because right in this area here, right in this area here, and I'm not going to strain myself to make a perfect edge right here. Let it grow out for another day or two. Our head razor for this morning is going to be the Gold Dollar 1996. It's got the new style heel, which makes it so nice. Get rid of those unwielding shoulders. It's got a nice wood scales. I say nice. It's a little on the heavy side. It's got a nice thick insert there. A little on the heavy side. But when this first came out, it was a nice razor. It still is too, compared to the 208 and the stainless steel model with the I can hear my wife knocking around in the kitchen. She's getting ready to make up those other pizzas for today. I think I hear a woodpecker. Tap, 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 tap. Coming off from my right-hand side over this way. And there's nothing out there except open woods down to the Spring Creek, and it's a stream is what it is. It feeds into the what is that larger river over? I think Trinity, is that the? Yeah, I think it's the Trinity River that feeds into, which goes down on the east side of Houston and Pasadena. There's a big reservoir park down that way. It might be the San Jacinto. In fact, now that I think about it, I do believe that's correct. Trinity's over on the border, isn't it? Over toward Orange, Texas. Isn't that the river that separates between Texas and Louisiana? I just don't remember off the top of my head. Like this, I'd have to look at a map. But now that I think about it, I think it is the San Jacinto. Okay, let's rinse that off. Yeah, if I ever do this again, which I probably will, get the water up to boiling or near boiling, I'm going to bring me a pair of tongs out so I don't have to put my hand in the water to retrieve my wash rag. Now I can't see the lines. So if I can't see them, I'm not going to cut them. But that feels way too tall. Let's do a little something right in there. All right, that'll do, because I can't see it. I'm getting a little bit of glare. You can see the glare here on my face. Okay. Okay, now let's do the back of the neck. And if I'm not mistaken, that gold dollar edge, it was a Shapton Glass 30,000. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's about as clean of a stroke with this razor that I've had compared to any other razor in a long time on the downstroke. Usually it takes several or a few passes of the upstroke to get a similar result. Oh, that's very clean on the back of the neck. Very clean. All right. So, thank you for joining me today on the patio. We'll do more of these as the fall comes along and we're enjoying nice mild temperatures. We've lived here now, in fact, it's just at 4 years. It was in October 4 years ago that we moved in, bought it, moved in, built it. We watched it being built during the summer. 4 years ago, that'd be what, 2018? And it's a lovely home indeed. About 2,000 square feet, single story, but we put all the extras into it and just love it. Just absolutely love it. Let's do the my water's pretty cool now, so I'm applying Osma alum block. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Little something right there, but that's not unusual. The chin always, but here and here and here, nothing. A little bit something right there, but nothing over here. Okay, wonderful. Now let's put a little something on the head and just wonderful. Okay, good. Put that back right there. Okay, that's good there. Let it dry for a second. All right, I'm gonna put the brush in the pan, let it soak in the tepid water. I'll take it to the restroom and I'll give it a good washing here in a little bit, but I'm not gonna overkill it right now. I'm gonna dump this pan in the backyard on this tree line. The one thing that the builders didn't do, and I suppose it has everything to do with property lines, is that they didn't kill the nasty brush on the tree line out. I would have gone, 10, 15, 20 feet. And there's kind of an implied, if you want to go back there and clear out some of that, I'd love to take a chainsaw and the small stuff. Now, there's a pine tree sprout right over there. It's about 25 feet tall, and it's about that big around, and that's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem if I don't get out there and kill it in the next few years. Anyway, that kind of stuff. And there's all kinds of little short growth that just becomes a problem. I got to reach through the fence, take the clippers, cut it off. And that, I'd rather just get out there with a chainsaw. But the thing that stops me, now I have access, one house over, there's a large fire lane that gives me access to go down to the woods. I don't have a gate that I can just go out. And the one thing that stops, so I got to come up the backside of my neighbor's property, which is fine. I've asked him, he's given me permission, but the brush grows right up against his as well, his fence line on the backside. And so I've got to mull my way through that to get to my property line. And I'll just tell you, the thing that is worrisome to me as I get back there and start chopping and cutting, snakes. Just like my little Chihuahua got bit by the copperhead. I'm sure there's all kinds of copperheads and water moccasins back in there. They stay close to the water, and it's about 50 yards, maybe a little more, down to the spring creek. And so that's where the mice and the rats and the possums and whatever else are. All right, we're done. Thank you so much for joining me on my patio shave today. Oh, no, one more thing. Ooh. We got the lilac veggie towel. Let's give it a good splash. Oh, yeah, that feels so good, smells so good. Now, this bottle here is about 10 years old. I just have hung on to it and used it sparingly. And I can tell a difference between this one and some of the, I bought 4 new ones a year or so ago, and I've got one in the truck. And so I use it in the truck, and I can tell a difference. This one seems to have a little more staying power than the new stuff. Anyway, so that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. And you remember what I said about, I'm just going to cut back on my videos from the road. They're going to come from home. I'm going to try and make them as entertaining as possible, with this, this, got to make it. Yeah. Thanks. See you down the road.